Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Speak On It. It's your boy Biv. I got Dom with me tonight, and we're gonna be talking about something a little interesting tonight. Something a little interesting, something a little different. Um, First of all, bro, how you been, man? How you been?
Oh man, I'm good, man. Good, good, good. Started a new job, in training now, man. Boring as F. You know what I mean? But it's cool with me because it allowed me to have a little bit more time with the family. You know what I mean? I don't got to be all over the place no more. So it's cool.
I hear that, man. Family is what's important, bro.
For
So
sure.
that's
Yes,
what we're gonna be
sir.
talking about tonight. We're gonna be talking about, love and relationships and stuff like that. So let me ask this question to you. What is the difference between you just mentally, the way you look at things now versus maybe 10 years ago?
I think, of course, just yeah. I mean, uh, with time comes experience or wisdom. Yeah, I mean, so I think that the way you looked at things when you was 20s and your 20s, um, it's like you think you have all this time, right? Or you think you have it all together. And you think like um, you're doing something. I think when you're in your 20s, it's like you think you're doing something. Like I think like if we being right, the way you talk to girls, the way you even the girls that you chose, like the girls that you looked at, like the girls that you hollered like you thought you was doing something with yeah I mean with them, like the way you like your little bank account, all that stuff, like you just thought you was doing something when you're in your 20s. And I think like when you're in your 20s, you're not being real, like you're not really even adulting like when you're in your 20s, like being real, like you might be on your own, you might be like you might have your own spot or something like that, but
Uh-huh.
you really not adulting when you're in your 20s. Like I think just the way you view things, the world in your 20s is just like you think you got it all together. Like you think you have arrived, and you got to think like you got to understand too. Like you're going from a place where you were sheltered in your teens, and then maybe in college, like you were sheltered because you had somebody always tell you, like you somebody printed out your itinerary. I got to get up to go to this class. I got to get up to do this. I got to get up to do that. And then when you get in your 20s and you kind of like got that kind of sense of freedom, it's like nobody can tell you nothing because I've done this. I've went through my parents. I went through schooling.
Hmm.
I'm here. I've arrived. I you can't tell me nothing. You know what I mean?
It was funny because as you was talking of right then, I got to thinking about, you know, in your 20s, you selfish. You know what I
Very.
mean? Like you very selfish. Why? Because like you said, you just came out of your mama house. You know what I mean? And thank God you had some rules. Because if I always felt bad for kids that didn't have rules. I'm like, man, your mom just really don't care about
They
you.
don't care about
You
you.
like they let you just do whatever you want. They don't care about you. But you had rules, you had structure, and now you in your 20s and you like, man, can't nobody tell me nothing, man. Like whatever. Like I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna do this, and you go places you don't got no business going. Like like I remember two or three, it was like two or three people from college decided to take a road trip. We was up at Goldie Beacon up in Wilmington, and they took a road trip to Virginia on a donut, bro. On a donut. On I-95 with a donut. And I'm like, man, like, think about it in my 20s, even in my 20s, I wouldn't even consider it. I was like, man, I ain't going that trip. But they didn't even think twice about it. And now that in my 30s, I'm like, man, I wonder if they would
What
still do that today. Like
Hell no, you ain't doing that.
I hope that they would not do that today. But it's weird though because in the same context, like it's weird now that I see people that's in like their 30s, some of them even in their early 40s. They still party every weekend, man. And I'm like, how? How do you do that? Like it's I don't like I understand people be like, man, I'm in shape, I work out, yada 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 yada. But it to me, man, it's not even just the nightlife as far as being tired. It's just the entire environment of its
Listen,
own. It was something that I enjoyed in my 20s. I embraced in my 20s. I wanted it every weekend. Thursday to Sunday, I'm partying. And now, whatever, really.
hey, if we being real, like you said, listen, in our 30s, we got podcasts, right? And we commit to this joint, but every time it's like, yo, in your 30s, you be in your 30s, you be like, man, yo, I know we got the podcast tonight, bro. I don't even feel like doing that
Yeah.
job, man. But I'm like, yo, I committed to it. I'm gonna do it. But like you said, listen, to commit to a night, like commit to like just going out to do something. Listen, I'd be the one to be like, well, it's 9:30.
Yep. I don't even when people be inviting me out now, I just keep it 100 and I'm be like, look, man, I'm not even gonna tell you yes because I'm probably not even gonna show up anyway. So if I want to do something, I'll let you know. I'd have to be honest with you because majority of the time something always come up, or I'm just literally just fatigued from everything that I do on a daily and nightly basis anyway. But in my 20s, I could go all day.
All night, like
All night
yo,
long. Like it was nothing. It was nothing. I remember I'm not gonna say no names, but we had a group of us in college, man. We would party all night so we could get to McDonald's breakfast at 5:30 in the morning. First, soon as McDonald's opened for breakfast, we was right there at the drive-through, bro. Right there at the drive-through with the order, man. And we would stay up, and we would do it periodically, like yeah, we're gonna stay up for McDonald's tonight. And we making this plan at 9 at night, and we're like, yo, we're gonna stay up till 5:30 so we can get breakfast first thing in the morning, and then come back and crash. So I would never even dream of staying up till 5:30 right now. For what?
for what? Like for what?
For what?
Listen. I don't love sleep as much as other people do, right? But I do like my sleep. Like my wife, forget about it. Like she loves sleep. Like you mess up her sleep pattern, like it's gonna be a problem. You feel me? But so for me, I'm like I can get my 6. You know what I mean? I get 6 hours. I'm good. You know what I mean? But staying up to 5 in the morning, like you said, so for one of the things for me, like I don't like if I'm sleeping during the day, I feel like I'm missing things. You know what I mean? And I feel like in my like I just feel like it's just staying up that late. I mean that early because it's not late.
Yeah.
That early, it's like for what? Like
Why?
like why am I
I
staying up
don't.
till 5 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning?
I have nothing to prove anymore.
Like, man, I'm going to sleep. Like when people be like, man, like you going to sleep at like I lie to you not. My alarm goes off at night at 10:15. They say, hey, Don, you need to wind down to go to sleep. 11 o'clock, probably laying down in the bed. Like I don't need to be up to 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Nope.
Honestly, I don't even know why I used to do it when I was in my 20s. I don't know why I used to do it. Just to say you can do it.
Yeah, because think about it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm going to say something weird. Literally, majority of us dudes back then, we was watching the same episode of Sports Center from
Bruh,
like midnight
bruh,
to about 4. Yo,
bruh.
it was the same
Facts.
episode of Sports Center, bro. And we
Watching
was
the
watching
same.
the same thing because that was really the only thing that was on at that time in the morning.
Yo,
Like
now you
that
said
was
it,
really
bro.
that was we was watching the same episode of Sports Center to the point that we knew when we could take a bathroom break so we could come back and watch the NBA highlight or
And
the NFL highlight.
it's funny you just said that because I'm like, yo, What was I watching? NBA TV. Watching the same thing on the loop. The same thing on the loop.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So like there's no reason. Now you can stay up and you can stream this and you can stream that. But still after a while, man, I need to get my rest because I know I gotta make sure that I'm capable of functioning the next day. So
Absolutely. I
but
think.
oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
Like I said, I just think that also like just the way your mind again, it's just growth and experience. Like just the way your mind works. Like we talked about earlier was like when you get out of that stage of your parents, you just knew like you just like you're new to you having new experiences. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've never been able to do this on my own. I've never been able to do that. So because I can do this now, which I mean, a lot of times you might have been doing those things when you were in your teens, but you was like sneaking to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like I'm free.
I can
I
openly
can
do it.
I can openly do this. I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
and then when you get older into your 30s, you like I can do it, but I don't want to do it. Like
What do I get out? I'm not getting
like
anything.
it's
I'm
not
not getting
wise to
anything out
do
of it.
this. It's not wise to do any of this stuff. Like so.
I feel you. But you was talking about approaching women, right? What's weird for me is I kind of met my wife in my early 20s,
Mhm.
but we didn't end up getting married until my older 20s. Why? Probably because my mindset wasn't of looking for marriage at that point in time in my 20s. You know what I mean? In your 20s, especially your early 20s, let's just be real. You just chase and tell. You know, even if you're in a committed relationship, you're only as committed as the next finest woman is willing to give up the draws. So,
Yep.
like, so that whole mindset, and some people don't ever mature out of that mindset, but that whole mindset that is just an adolescent mindset that you continue to have truly into your 20s. So, me in my 20s met my wife, knew who she was, thought she was attractive, but made no effort to even attempt to say anything to her. And then in my 20s, seen her and was like, interested. And it's weird to think. It's weird though, like because I was almost 30 when we got married. You know what I'm saying? So it's just weird to think, like, man, time, like you said, will change the way you just see and view things in that nature. But I can remember in college trying to holler at females that were roommates, you know what I mean? Best friends, you know what I'm saying? Cousins, sisters. It didn't matter. It really didn't matter. You know what I mean? It really didn't.
It's like listen. When you talking about hollering at any and everything, I know. Listen, I'm gonna say this right now. I apologize to my siblings. I'm gonna apologize to them on the broadcast because, bro, listen. For me, bro, I did not care if you was friends with my sisters, friends with my brothers. Like if you had a breast and vagina and you look decent, I was on it. I didn't care. Like you said, like roommates, best friends, like and the crazy thing is when we talk about the mature mindset now is when you was in your 20s, like you welcomed that challenge. Oh, y'all roommates. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. I'm gonna try to do that. Like, oh y'all sisters. Yup. I'm definitely gonna see if I can take on that challenge. Like, bro, I wouldn't. Well, I'm married now, so I damn sure ain't gonna try it now. If I was in my 30s, like in my 30s and I wasn't married, I wouldn't try to holler at roommates. Like, just
It would be too exhausting trying to keep up the facade.
like,
The line,
no.
the line that you have to do to date multiple women is just exhausting. It's
Can't do it,
exhausting.
huh?
And nowadays, I don't know how they do it now with social media. I don't know how these men and women do that with social media, and they got and all the dudes and the females are friends. Like I don't know how they do. I don't know how they do it, man.
All the
That
dating
would
apps.
be yeah, no, I
But
don't
this is
know
what I
how they
will
do
say. This is what I will say. I've never been one that was on a dating app. Maybe because it was late. They started surfacing later on when I was really just trying to chill. But if I was early in my 20s and that came out, bruh,
I
them
never used it. I never used a dating app. Never used a dating app. However, I can't sit here and act like I didn't meet people on Black Planet
or the party line.
or MySpace. You feel
Ah,
me? So no dating app, but social media platforms was definitely you were definitely getting hollered at.
you definitely was getting hollered at. Listen,
Like
I get that, but listen, an app strictly for that's what you do, dog, dog. You know what it is.
yeah, yeah, it would have been bad. It would have been bad, man. I'm not even gonna front. I couldn't imagine being in college with Match
What,
and
a
Hitch.
dating app? Stop
I
it.
couldn't imagine. I couldn't
Stop
imagine.
it.
I couldn't imagine.
They said
For real.
college was easy enough. Like try to holler
I
at
know.
something.
So I feel you, bro. So you were talking about. I talked a little bit about me and my wife. So how did you know, bro? How did you know
Man,
that you wanted
our
to marry
story
Cole?
our story unique. It's crazy because um I dated her without even knowing that I dated her. And it's always crazy when I tell this story, right? Because um I was in this relationship with this girl. Me and the girl broke up, and Cole like used to always reach out to me just to check on me and stuff like that. So she was like just my friend, just strictly friends. So we just to hang out, chill all the time. Like when she would go on dates with dudes, I'd be like, "Yo, I think this is the one." Like I like ball, like stuff like that. Like and then true story. Um, we had um, a prophet came and talked to us. I called my prophet. She was started talking to us and was like telling us describing this whole scenario, right? And then she had me and Cole hold hands, and I was like, this is weird. This is awkward. And I was talking to her. I looked at Cole. I was like, is this awkward? And I was like, she was like, y'all not together? I was like, nah, we not together. She was like, oh, okay. So she took Cole to the side and she was like, listen, my prophecies are always on point. Like, that's your husband. So she told Cole, she didn't tell me. Um, but I just started feeling like afterwards that um like she was becoming more than a friend. Like I mean, so well, I'm lying. Not right away. Right away, I was still like, nah, that ain't that's just my homie. Like that's my. But then as time went on, it was like, yo, this is more. I feel like she's more than a friend. Like when you start thinking about everything that you want in a partner, it's like friendship. We was basically doing everything. We was basically dating without the title, without saying it was dating. Like what dating actually should look like. We were actually dating without the sex and without the kissing, without all that stuff. That's what we were doing. We were getting to know each other. So then when it was like our friend sat us down, was like, "Yo, y'all supposed to be together." And I, we went outside, like we were supposed to go on a date, go out to eat, not a date, I mean, but I was like, "Yo, did Margaret say that I was your husband?" She was like, "Yeah." I said, "All right, cool." Like, I feel that. Yeah, I mean, and from there, um, once we made it official, I automatically knew that um, I was gonna marry her because we went through all the stages and all the process to get to know each other, to um, basically hang out and everything like that. And then like once I started defending her, and I knew like I tried to visualize my life, like like everything I wanted to do in life, and everything I wanted to do always included her. Like to the point where I was telling her like the dudes that she would date, like, yo, y'all need to prepare yourselves because I'm always gonna be here. Like I'm always going to be in her life. And then from there, I started to think like, dang, I'm always gonna be in her life. So she, she, she it like so. I feel like once we made it official, that's when I knew that we was gonna get married, and I wanted to marry her.
Um, that is very interesting, though, bro. Like to think that y'all was just cool for forever. You know what I mean? Even being supportive of each other, dating other people, man. That's rare.
Yeah, it's
You know what I
crazy,
mean? That's
bro.
rare because usually your friend of the opposite sex, they overprotective and nah, that ain't the one, and yada yada yada. So that's rare, bro. That's
Hey,
rare.
listen, listen. Crazy thing is you said what made me love her more was I was in this other relationship, right? And I was dating this girl. I broke up with this girl, but I still had interest in her, and Cole knew that. But Cole also knew that I was the one for her. Even with her knowing that I was the one for her, she still supported me with my pursuit with this girl, which was like what you just said. Like she could have just been like, nah, she not the one. She not like she never forced she never forced it on me.
Hmm.
It was just like, okay, that's what you want to do. If that's what you want, if that's what you want to pursue, if that's what you want, I, all right, then do that. You know what I mean? But she needed me to realize that she was the one without her forcing on me, which is what drew me to her even more because it was like I said, she was all about me and supporting me. So
That's real, bro. I knew I knew Angie was the one because when we first started
who was
talking, when we first started talking, I had my own spot, you know what I mean, and I was living with another girl though, but I had my own spot. You know what I'm saying? But I lost everything. You feel me?
mm-hmm.
Literally lost my job, lost my car. You know what I mean? I had to move in back in with my peoples. You know what I mean? So, and she just looked at me and said, "You still have greatness in you," and I can see that. When again, I just lost everything, so I ain't see that in myself. You know what I mean? I'm still in that immature, you know what I mean, mid-20 states, so I ain't see that in myself. Like, well, whatever, man. I'm at the point where I was almost thinking about getting into illegal stuff. And I was at, you know what I mean, this is after college. I got my college degree and everything. So, but she stuck with me. And I was like, yo, any woman that was already she already had her own family, you know what I mean? She had kids. So, and she was still willing to pull me up. You know what I mean? Because we were just friends. We were just
Mm-hmm.
friends. We was just talking, nothing more than that. We was just literally just friends. But she was still willing to stick by me when she could have just kicked me to the curb. And but I was like, you know what? This woman dig me. And similar to you, like I was saying earlier, we worked together. We worked together at McDonald's when I was in college. And to this day, I do not remember being at this Christmas party. To this day, I do not remember being at this Christmas party. But she said I ignored her the entire Christmas party. She said she was trying to holler at me, and I ignored her. Again, which leads me to believe that in my subconscious mind, I knew that I was gonna mess this woman up for my future. If I had gotten with her at that point, I would have messed my entire future up with her. Because I do not, like I said, I do not remember. I don't remember being at the party at all. And she was like, "You straight up just ignored me the entire time. Every time I would say something to you, you would just ignore me." And I was like, "Man, I can't remember that." Like, because I used to try to. I'm thinking to myself, "Really?" Because I thought I was trying to holler at you at
I'm to
work.
holler
Like,
at everything. I'm to holler at everything. What you talking
I'm thinking
about?
to myself, like, "Man, really?" Because I thought I was trying to holler at you at work. But anyway, and then so we met then, and then it was weird because I went back to college, but I wasn't working at McDonald's no more. I wasn't coming back home and working at McDonald's. I later come back home. This is probably my senior year of college. So I was working there my freshman year. My senior year of college, I had came home and I was with my mom, picking my mom up from her job. And the door opens up, the car next to me, and I'm like, man, that girl looks familiar. Like I know her from somewhere. Like, I don't know where I know her from, but I know her from somewhere. And my mom gets in the car. She's like, "Do you know her, Dwayne?" I'm like, "She looked familiar." She's like, "That's Angie." She's like, "She's so sweet, Dwayne. I think you should get with her. I think she would be. I think she would be perfect for you." And I'm like, I don't you know who that girl is? Like I know her from somewhere, but I don't know who she is. And then later on, probably a year before we started talking, we ran into each other at Walmart with my mom. Me and my mom are walking into Walmart. She's coming out. And again, I'm looking at her like, I know you from somewhere. But her and my mom, they remembered each other right away. They start talking, yada, 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 yada. I ain't paying no mind. Like, man, whatever. I know you from somewhere, but I don't know you. And then again, 2 years later, we were talking, dating, and I was like, man, it's crazy how, and we started talking before about how her, because the church that she grew up in was like a lot of my family went to, and she would go and hang out over their house. I would go and hang out over their house, but we would never cross paths. And I was like, man, we wasn't ready for each other. I would have messed you up. You would have messed me up. Something similar to that. You know what I mean? And when we got together when we were
You're
supposed
supposed to.
to get together. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? And
Yep.
I think a lot of times we try to rush things, we try to force things instead of just letting things play out and just happen. And when you try to force things, is when a lot of times bad stuff happens. You know what I mean? Like I said, I know myself. I would have messed her up. I would have done something wrong to mess up that relationship when I was when I was in college. I was a whore. I ain't gonna front. I was a whore. You know what I mean? So I would have done something stupid. But I knew she was meant for me because again, we crossed paths so many times and nothing ever happened. But when we finally got together, it was almost perfection. You know what I mean? Like it was weird because one of our first dates, bro, one of our first dates was right before a hurricane, right? So we decided to go up to Wilmington before the hurricane come. It was like a couple of days before the hurricane was supposed to come. But unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, fortunately, the tolls were not open. So we had a free ride up Route 1. You know what I mean? No cars on the road or anything. We went to the movies. Nobody in the movie theater except for one couple. It's one other couple that was in the movie theater. We went seeing Final Destination 5. I don't know why we seen that, but we seen that. But like, and it was perfect. You know what I mean? It's perfect. We was able to just be me and her. I could talk to her about anything. You know what I mean? Again, just like you and Cole, we were friends first, and we built a friendship together before we did anything. And I think that is very important when you're talking about knowing when you want to marry somebody. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you can't say y'all friends, you probably don't need to be trying to get married to that person. So
Listen, listen. It like a lot. Like I said, I'm here replaying like a lot of the things. Right, when you talk about not being ready, I remember getting out of one relationship. Right, and James, who be on the show sometimes. I remember telling him because his wife and Cole best friends. So I remember getting out of one relationship, and I was like, "Yo, what's up with Cole?" Like, he was like, "Dog, nah, not right now, not right now." But he was saying she not ready. He was saying she not ready, right? And I was sitting here thinking, Cole, like they legit just had this conversation the other day, James and Cole, and Cole was like, you know what? Because he was like, yeah, you know how Dom is. I mean, Dom a nice guy. He just was chill, like he in the church, yada yada yada. He said, Cole, Cole, you would have destroyed that man. So he was saying that she wasn't ready. But when you started to think back, and I was telling him earlier because I was telling him about the show, and I was like, man, when you sit back and think about was I ready, and I was like, I probably wasn't ready either because when you go from relationship to relationship, you know what I mean, and really not fully take time for you and realize who you are, that's when you'll mess things up. Like she came at the perfect time where like I was getting out of a relationship, but I really wasn't worried about being in another one. Like I was really focused on like legit. I was focused on like when I get out of a relationship, bro. I get out one, and I'm looking for the next job. You know what I mean? But this one, like I got out of a relationship, but I was really waiting for the girl that I broke up with. I was waiting for her. Just trying to better myself for her. But it was really teaching me to worry like to become better for me. Like be okay with me. Be okay with just being by yourself. Like it was the
yep.
first time. It was the first time, like, because I went from my mom house to living with my having a roommate to moving in with a girl. When I broke up with the girl, it was the first time I was by myself. Like I didn't have siblings with me. I didn't have a mom with me. I didn't have roommates with me. It was the first time like it was me. And I think a lot of times when we talk about going from I'm about to tie all this stuff into like everything that we talk like everything we talk about episode 4, we talk about going from being in your 20s and being out on your own and like getting to like really being an adult when you like for me it was like can I really do this when I went and like didn't have a roommate and was doing things on my own. It was like when I broke up with this girl, it was like can I really do this thing by myself? And it really taught me a lot of okay, Dom, you're strong enough to do this. Like you're mature enough to do like you're strong enough to pay bills, like pay your own bills. Like you're mature enough to handle your own bills and balance your accounts and do all those things. So it was really me learning how to be comfortable with me. And the crazy thing about it is that Colt was there the whole time that I was learning how to be a man. I was learning how to be I mean like I would say like just a man, like a grown up, like an
It's an
adult.
adult.
Like just being I was learning how to be an adult, and I think that at times when you going from place to place, I always say the same when I would talk to people who marry and stuff like that. Sometimes when you get into and relationship, you take on the identity of the relationship. You take on the identity of like, and when you get married, sometimes you do this. I mean, just subconsciously, you take on the identity of the other person, like just little things, like
hmm
you start watching. She might be watching something. That, I mean, you never watched this show before now, but you into this show. Like you used to be out all the time, like, and you used to love going out. But because this person is a house person or a homebody, now you find yourself being just a little bit more of a homebody. Like you take on the identity of the relationship. Yeah, I mean, and I think a lot of times that's what I did is I took on the identities of the relationship, and when I had to break free from just being in a relationship, it was like, okay, now you can really form an identity of who you are. And I think that once I realized that, that's another part of when I knew that okay, I was ready to be in a mature adult relationship.
I'm with you on that, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was single majority of my life, man. I refused. Like, it wasn't that I refused to get into a serious relationship. It's just that sometimes the opportunities didn't present themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and then when sometimes they did, I would shy away from them
Definitely.
because, like, I'm I maybe at the time I just didn't want to be tied down, or I just wasn't interested. Whatever the reason was, I just never really found myself in a serious relationship. Like, I might talk to somebody, and I mean, we keep constant contact or something like that. But like titles, no, no,
Hey, listen,
no,
being real
no
with you, like
titles.
like what you just said, like I was legit just telling Cole the other day, outside of her. Now I've had titles in a relationship. Um, but for me, I say a serious relationship is a relationship where you wasn't seeing somebody
Other,
else,
mm-hmm.
other people. You know what I mean? So like for me, I might have had a title on a relationship, like you was my main John, but I had other Johns on the side. Like I was talking to other Johns, like um, but I've only been in three three relationships where I didn't I didn't have something else on the side. Yeah, I mean, so like what you said, like so for me, like the majority of my life, I've I've never been in a relationship. Yeah, I mean, then when I did, it was like when I was getting towards my later in my state, my age, where I was like, well, you know what? One, when I was younger, I was in a I was in a committed relationship, like a couple months, 3 4 months. I didn't cheat on her, like I didn't, but when I was ready to move on, I broke up with her. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know how serious I don't know how serious you want to take that either. Yeah, I mean, but but when I started to like really wanted to chill, it was like I took on the identity of the relationships.
I'm with you on that. Now, you married, bro. Have you ever like even heard of love languages?
Yes,
How recent?
bro. I basically like when Tamar said, "This is what Dom do." That's what I do. Like I teach people love languages. I talk to people about love languages. I basically coach people in relationships. You know what I mean? So um, we do we do love languages all the time. Recent, probably a couple months ago. And I also think that it's healthy to. I guess we'll get into it and we'll talk about it. But um,
Go ahead.
your love language, if you're still so like me and Cole been married 6 years, 5 years, been together 6 years. Um, if you think that her love language is the same as it was 5 years ago, then I think there's going to be some kind of disconnect in your relationship. If she thinks that my love language is the same as it was 5 years ago, and regardless of what women think, all men's love language is not physical touch. all, all, all men's love it's probably it's probably in that. It's probably maybe one of the love languages, but there are times in your as a man, there are times in your life where physical touch is not your primary love language. For me, um, I flip flop. I flip flop my love language flip flops. I know Cole's love language flip flops. It's just like it depends on what season you're in life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just just to couple that, what you were saying is me and Angie's 10th is this year. If I were to think she's still the same woman from just 2 years ago, I'm fooling myself.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? She's transformed just as I have, probably 3 or 4 times since we've gotten together. You know, I mean, like I said, we've been married 10 years this year, September. We've been together for 11, almost 12. So I'm not the same person. She's not the same person, but it's important to communicate that. You know what I mean? Like, hey, and because most of the time you can see it, even if you don't want to see it, you can see it. But it's important to communicate that, and it's also important to know your partner's love language.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, and know what it is that they like, as well as for them to know what it is that you like and what it is that you're into. You know what I mean? Because if you're really committed, you need to know these things in order for
Absolutely.
in order for it to last. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? And it was love language is something that really I probably heard about maybe a year ago. I heard about it. Um, took a couple of tests. You know what I mean? But I still do some research because I still, again, everything's always evolving. So
Mm-hmm.
I research the stuff every now and again. And I encourage any and everybody, whether you're single, married, or whatnot, to take the test. So that way you at least know what it is that you like.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Know what your love language is. So that way, again, you can communicate that because everything's awkward now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Everything's awkward now because you don't communicate with people.
Yep.
You most of the time communicate with machines,
Yep.
and that machine actually does the communicating with the other person. So it's awkward when you get with people one on one. A lot of people don't know how to start conversations. A lot of people don't know how to just engage in eye contact because it's not something that they're used to doing because we always on
We always.
technology.
Yep. Yep. Now, one of the things that you said, like, why even like the like, I love the title of the book because we talk about it's love language, right? So imagine us, right, coming on to do the show, and we sent out the topics and everything like that. But I came on here and started talking in Japanese, and you came here and you started talking whatever. Yeah, I mean French. Yeah, I mean
Hmm.
I don't understand French, and you don't. That's most of the time how most couples like who don't understand love languages. That's how they talk to each other. Yeah, I mean I'm gonna talk to you in my language and expect you to understand what I'm saying, right? And you're going to talk to me in your language and expect me to know what you're saying, as opposed to trying to learn what your language is and talking to you in your language, so that way you can understand. You can understand what I'm saying, and I can understand what you're saying. It's a
Exactly.
dialogue, it's a communication, right? So that's what the love languages will do, is will help you understand. Like for me, just there's five love languages, right? So a lot of times, right, what we do is um, say somebody's love language is acts of service, right? So I do acts for service, and because my love language is acts of service, um, I'm going to do acts of service for you, thinking that that is what you like, thinking that that is your love language. Or I'm going to do physical touch, like my love language is physical touch. So I'm going to do physical touch with you, thinking that that's how you communicate. When your love language could be um, quality time, right? That could be your love language, just quality time. But because I don't understand that and I don't talk that language, I don't understand that your love language is quality time. I'm giving you physical touch, or I'm giving you words of affirmation, and you like, man, I encourage myself. I don't need that. What I need is I need you here present. You know what I mean, watching this movie
Hmm.
with me. You know what I mean, or I need you to do X, Y, and Z doing this. So that's what the love language will actually help you guys do, is to actually help you break through some of the barriers of, yeah, I mean, like you said, it's the communication.
Yep, just the communication, man. Because at the end of the day, everything is based on communication.
Mm-hmm.
Your entire relationship is based on communication. That you have to know what's going on with your partner. You
Yep.
have to, and they have to know what's going on with you. So there's nothing worse, like you said. There's nothing worse than wanting some affection. You want some physical touch, and instead you get a gift. and you're like, yeah, it's not what I wanted.
Um,
And then they
I
looking
was,
at you like, I just spent $100 on that. Like, you better like it. And you're like, yeah, the gift's fine, but it's not. It's just
yeah,
not what I wanted.
it's not what I wanted.
It's
Like
just
again,
not what I wanted.
listen, like you said, I appreciate the gifts. Yeah, I mean, but it's like you said, it's not my love language. And I know with my wife, she appreciates. Yeah, I mean, like for me, she know with me, I would give, I would buy a super expensive gift. She don't care about those things. It's not her love language. Yeah, I mean, so I, just understanding the love language, it'll save you a whole lot of headache. I mean, and maybe save you a whole lot of money. Yeah, I mean, because
Yep. Yes. And again, if you learn if you learn the love languages, all five of them, if you learn them for yourself, again, communicating that with your partner, but you can also see the signs of them as well. You know what I mean? Like, I know, I know when Angie starts getting the pouty face on me, she wants some QT. You know what I mean? I know that. I know she might not get it. She
but you
might not get
understand the language.
it. But I know that's what I know that is what she is longing for, and I know eventually I'm gonna have to give it to her. You know what I mean? We still got to find something that rhymes with husband, because happy wife, happy life. But we need to find something that rhymes with husband or man or something.
Listen. This what when I was going to couples counseling, this is what they came up with, right? This is what we came up with, right? Happy spouse, happy house.
Oh, that covers everybody. Yep.
Happy
Happy
spouse,
spouse,
happy
happy
house.
house. I love that. I love that. So, but it's the truth. Like, and that's one of the things again with communication. I know that I can see the pouty face, and I'm like, babe, I know what you want, but I can't give it to you right now. But when I can, I
Be honest.
absolutely will. You're gonna get my undivided attention, and then she'll get it, and then she won't be out of her face for a couple of weeks. You know what I'm saying? And I know it. And I know it. But again, because we know each other and we talk constantly, we have a healthy relationship, and it's not a perfect relationship by any means, but it's a healthy one, and that's all we're trying to keep. Just keep a healthy relationship that we continue to build and grow on, man.
Hey, listen, I'm all for it. I'm all for all that, man. I'm all for
Absolutely,
all that.
bro. So
Listen,
again, if you haven't gotten out there to about the five love languages, man, I encourage you to go out there and read up on it. If you're in a relationship, you and your partner go and read them together, because I guarantee as soon as you start reading them, you won't even have to take the quiz. You'll start reading them and be like, "That's you."
yeah, understand. Yep,
That is definitely you. And
helps
then
me
you'll look
understand
at
it.
it, read some more, and be like, yeah, that's me. That's me. So you don't even have to take the quiz. You can take them if you want to, what I mean, just so you can get affirmation if you feel like you need it. But if you start reading them, it's just like horoscopes. When you find yourself in it, you find yourself in it. Just like the word, you find yourself in it.
Yes,
So
sir.
I encourage everybody to just go take a look at those love languages, read up on them, study them, learn them, and do what you do in your relationship. So, my man, final thoughts. What you got?
Listen, it's crazy, right? I never do it since we've been doing the podcast. I never I'm like I did plug once, but since we're talking about relationships, love languages, and stuff like that, right? I too have like courses and stuff like that. I have something called a fight course. It's all about relationships, and it's 5 stages to help you break through anything that you're dealing with in your relationship as a marriage. And I also have a singles thing called Focus, which will help you understand who you are and allow you to be ready and be prepared for if you want to be married, if you want to become a spouse and stuff like that, and it'll help you be a better man and a better person, a better man and a better human being, and a better just woman as well. Yeah, I mean, so those are two things I want to plug. If you having issues with figuring out who you are, and if you have issues in your relationships, or if you just want to get better in your relationships, holler at me to get those courses.
My final thought and this is probably going to be a little controversial. Um, but I do work in high school and I coach high school sports. And I tell this to my students and I tell this to my players all the time. High school kids should not be in a relationship. You don't even know who yourself is. You don't even know who you are. All right. And I'm not saying just go out and have sex with everything moving. I'm not saying that. But all I'm saying is do not tie yourself down and commit yourself to a person because you don't know who you are yet. And you cannot be committed to somebody when you don't even know who you are. That is all I'm saying. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that might even fall into some of y'all into college as well. Find out who you are first, know who you are first, and then get into a serious relationship. So that's just my final thought. Again, might be controversial. I don't really care though. But like I said, I tell that to all the students that they come to me with. They would come to me. They'd be like, "What I should do about my girlfriend? Break up." But I love
I'm a,
her. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You
you
don't
don't
love
even
her.
know
You
what
know.
love is. Don't
You
even
know
know
you
what
don't.
love is. I'm gonna say this, piggyback one thing off of your final thought, just to bring it full circle. In one of my courses, I break down how just scientifically you cannot make an adult decision until you're 25. So when you're talking about dating, thinking about dating and all these things, again, if that's what you want to do, okay. But just to piggyback off what Biv is saying and to give validation to it, you don't make adult decisions. Your mind won't make adult decisions until you're 25. And in some instances, and in some other cultures, 30. Like they say, the age of maturity, the age of adulthood is 30, which is
Yeah.
why most of the times when we're talking about bringing the full circle today, we probably didn't get married or didn't think we were ready till we were closer to our 30s
Yeah.
because we were more mature.
I was 28 when I got married.
29.
So,
So
all right, everybody, that is the show for the night. So, until next time,